Everybody, you're listening to Come At Me Show with me, reigning champ, Tim Keck. I did it again. Just a solid intro on my own. Maybe next week. I think next week's the week that we finally get music. I can't wait. I'm excited. It's going to blow your minds and completely distract you from the fact that this podcast is just me talking for an hour. So we'll see. It needs a little music up top to get people pumped. Get people pumped to sit back and relax for a chill 45 minutes. I can't tell you, I don't think there's a lot of electric podcasts out there that are just nonstop thrills, bumper to bumper. I just carbo loaded for this thing. I just ate a bunch of leftover spaghetti. I'm pretty sure there's sauce on my shirt, but I'm not going to check. I refuse. I refuse to check the sauce shirt situation. I'm pretty good with spaghetti, I think. Spaghetti is not a problem. I've trouble with some sauces though. The occasional soup splatter, if I'm a little too violent putting the spoon in, that'll result in something. Spaghetti, I'm a twirler though. I love a good spaghetti twirl. And I use a spoon too. I'm a real Italian. I've realized I picked up a lot of things that were just from kids when I was younger, who in my mind just represented and spoke for their entire culture. So my Italian buddy Rob was like, "This is how an Italian eats pasta," and just spoon in one hand, fork in the other, and you try and make it, swirl it all into one giant blob, and then you need the spoon because the fork on its own can't hold all of the weight of the pasta that you've wrapped around it, and you're just kind of using a two-hand shovel motion to get as much of it as possible into your mouth at once. And I've been eating like that ever since. My buddy Britton one time showed me how to use chopsticks, and I've been crushing it with chopsticks ever since. If you see me with chopsticks, know that things are under control. I have got this. I know what I'm doing. I am a chopstick master. I am so good with chopsticks. You pick your utensil. I'll go in there with chopsticks, and I'll whoop your ass, man. You can go fork and knife. I don't give a shit. I'll cut up a steak with my chopsticks, and I'll be flipping it in the air like it's like one of those flat tops, like Makoto's hibachi grill. It'll be like a hibachi grill. The one back home was called Makoto's. I call them all Makoto's. If I see a hibachi grill, in my mind, it's just another Makoto's. I am a chopstick king. It takes practice. That's why I eat a lot of spaghetti. I order a lot of Chinese food. And I always eat the food the way the way it was intended to be eaten. Tell you what's a saucy mess, though, is... What is it? Cheyenne noodle. It's like a hand-pulled noodle place. It's like XI''AN noodles. They're so good. Hand-pulled noodles. They got a little lamb in there. Maybe a little pork or something in there with the noodles. They're delicious, but I can't wear a nice shirt in there. I'd go sometime on my lunch break when I was going back into Manhattan to work, and I always had to cover up. I wanted to use a bib, but I'm a grown man. I can't wear a bib. How come lobsters you get a bib, but slurpy hand-pulled noodles you don't? I like to slurp them. I want to put a little in my mouth, and I want that, but you can't, because then the sauce goes everywhere and it stains. It always stains. My God, the trouble. These are first world problems for sure. The hazards of eating food. I can't believe it. There should be warnings. That's going to be I haven't written a review for Cyan. I did my my little Instagram show, Spot or Not, where I go to different restaurants with friends, and then I rate them on the binary scale of spot to not. And Cyan for sure is a spot. Would recommend. Would encourage people to go. But on the Yelp review, which I will write tonight, I'm going to include a disclaimer. Eat at your own risk. Bring another shirt. Bring a bib if you don't feel insecure about it. Or an umbrella that someone can hold. Or a jacket you don't care about. I'll make sure I wear my winter coat Over the winter, I just wear my winter coat while I'm eating my noodles inside. I'm sweating under there, but it's better than just pouring pouring noodles. I don't even know what it is. It's all like it's spicy, it's delicious. I mean, it's so good, but it's all over the place. I don't have a lot of trouble with other foods. I just want it to be known. I'm not generally someone who has trouble eating things. I'm a good eater. Soup dumplings, that's a tricky one. You ever have a soup dumpling? So good. I love it's a dumpling, but it's got soup in it. I don't know if you if you haven't had it before. I'm not sure you knew where that was going. What the reveal of what a soup dumpling is. Joe's Shanghai in New York. I used to go there a lot. Get some soup dumplings. They got like crab soup and a dumpling, but the dumpling's huge. And there's techniques to eating it. They give you a little spoon and then your chopsticks. And you're supposed to lift it up in the spoon, akin to how the Italians would eat a big bowl of spaghetti. And then you take a little bite out of the dumpling, and then it kind of some of the soup comes out and gets in the spoon, and then you just slurp it. You slurp it all up, and then you get to eat the dumpling. But I, being the man I am, I go whole hog on this dumpling, man. I pick it up in the mouth, one bite, and then you're just dealing with it. Then it's the struggle, but that's the chase, man. That's the hunt. That's the primal need of me as a man to hunt my food and survive and do what it takes. It's a little too hot. You got to kind of open your mouth a little bit and do that. You're like exhaling while because it's too hot, and then the soup's everywhere, and you got to keep it all in your mouth. I mean, it's a thrill. This is a ride. I'll tell you what, it's delicious, and it's a ride. I pity the little-mouthed man who goes to Joe's Shanghai looking for some soup dumpling action. They don't make them for you. They make gigantic ones you drink with a straw. Soup dumplings. There's some places that sell just a gigantic soup dumpling, and you drink it with a straw. And I think I'm out on that. I'm a whole bite man when it comes to dumplings. When it comes to soup, it's one gulp. When it comes to dumplings, one gulp. Man, this show's anarchy, dude. I've been trying to come up with more of a structure. I got none. No structure. Anarchy. This week's topic is supposed to be pets. I'm going to get to pets, but we start off topic. Getting as off topic as I can get. Michelle Obama has a podcast. What? How am I supposed to compete with Michelle Obama? We have exactly the same audience. The same people paying money to see her on stage at the Barclays Center are the same people listening to my show right now. And if they have another option to get their relationship advice from than me, they're going right to Michelle. I can't compete with Michelle. She's too famous for a podcast. All right? Trust me on this. There are a lot of great podcasters on there. Joe Rogan is as famous as a podcaster should be allowed to get. Someone who hosted like Fear Factor and then was mostly known for that, and then to stand up and then created this podcasting empire. Joe Rogan, that's as famous as you should be before you start a podcast. I mean, Conan O'Brien should not have a podcast. There, I said it. Conan O'Brien has a podcast. Why? He's got a show on television. You really need another? You need another thing? This is for the little guy. This is for me. That's what you need. Some cutting. You need people that are hungry. I'm out here trying to give you the goods. I'm still craving that attention. I'm still searching for fame. Rob Lowe, get out of here with your podcast. I don't want to hear it, Rob Lowe. I love you, but you're too famous, Rob Lowe. Get out of here with your... You know what, Rob Lowe, I'll say it, not a threat. I'm not worried about these actors coming in, man. All these actors being like, I'm going to start a podcast. It's like, man, people have been telling you what to say for your entire career, and all of a sudden you're going to speak your mind? Nah. Nah, man. You're not going to do it. Wait, Rob Lowe's not going to say anything interesting. I love Rob Lowe. He's an amazing actor. Parks and Rec, he had that short, like one season of a show called I think it was The Grinder, where he played like a lawyer in a small. He was a guy who was an actor who played a lawyer on TV, and then the show gets canceled, so he moves back to his hometown where his brother and his dad are real lawyers, and he joins their law firm with no experience, and then just starts acting as a lawyer. It was a great show. It was a great show. It got canceled. Rob Lowe, I love you. Get the fuck out of podcasting. Get the fuck out of here, and don't let the door hit you on your tight ass in those jeans on the way out. In your whitewashed jeans. You beautiful freak. Hit the road. I don't care if you have Chris Pratt on there. Yeah, I'm going to listen. I haven't yet, but I'm going to. And then, adios, man. Hit the road. Bob Saget has a podcast. That dude sucks at podcasting. Most boring man I've ever heard. I'm sure maybe his stand-up's great. I don't know. His stand-up could be good. But he is a lot of dad jokes. A lot of gross dad jokes is his thing. All of his jokes are like, they're all just dad jokes with fuck in it. People have said this already, but it's like, hi, Dad, I'm hungry. Hi, hungry. I'm Dad. Fuck face. That's like Bob Saget's version of. That's Bob Saget's type of comedy. The Office Ladies there are people. There is a podcast reviewing The Office, and the people doing the reviewing are actors who were on The Office. This is a joke. This is not real. You can't do that. You can really? This is where we're at. People make a thing, they get rich and fat and rich from it, and then they create a podcast critiquing the thing that they made. What? What are we doing? Can I do that in reverse? Can I do this podcast and then make a show that's commentary on my rant here? I should be telling you about all these great podcasts. I want you to listen to mine. Michelle Obama. I can't compete with Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama is doing like a dating podcast. What relationship advice does Michelle Obama have? I don't know. Date a future president. That's great advice, Michelle. Thank you for that. If he plays basketball with your father, he's a keeper. Thanks, Michelle. This is phenomenal. You're a love story that will stand the test of time. I like that Michelle's the one out getting paper now, though, and not Barack. Barack was the president, and then he's like, okay, time for me to sit back. And Michelle's like, okay, I'm going to go get the bag. time for mama to make some money. And then she's doing book tour, podcast. Michelle is unstoppable. She's electric. I love Michelle Obama. I simultaneously don't give a crap about anything Michelle Obama has to say. I don't know why I care about Michelle Obama. She is, she's married to someone who was important. That's pretty much her qualifications for fame. And a lot of people take that and run with it, but she's great. I love her. I want to hear more about her. I want to hear about how she stays in shape. Michelle, we saw a lot of Michelle. She was out there flexing on Sesame Street. Melania, I don't think I've heard Melania Trump say two words. What would her podcast? Melania's podcast is just Morse code, and it's just SOS, constantly going out over a feed. Just Morse code, like send help. We are not safe. Get Barron out of here. He is unstable. Let's see. Michelle Obama podcast. Let's see. I got a goodie bag when we started this whole COVID thing back in March. There was massive shortages up here in Brooklyn, New York. with all of the sanitary things, hand soap, um, like wipes and hand sanitizer. Excuse me, all of that, alcohol wipes. And my family was very good about sending me stuff. My aunt sent me some things, sent me some face masks. My mom sent me some face masks, some Clorox wipes, a big bottle of hand sanitizer, and all those items were essential. My mom also threw in um, just some bars of soap, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. I don't know how bad things would have to be that I would use a bar of soap. I don't think I've ever, maybe in a hotel. A hotel is the only time I think I've ever used just a big old, it was just a thick old bar of Dove, like ivory soap. It's the kind of, and you use it on your hands, and there's like a film on your hands when you're done using this thing. It's crazy. It's like it's straight up just the soap that you'd put in from a Christmas story, when the kid curses and his mom makes him put a bar of soap in his mouth. When was the last time you saw a thick ass bar of soap like that? It's crazy. I'm a liquid soap man. I've always got liquid soap. A bar of soap. She's in a lot of great stuff. I love my mom, but a bar, just like 6 bars of soap. How desperate would I have to be to get? We're talking there is no more liquid soap in the city. There's no more body wash in the Walgreens. Toilet paper's been gone for months at this point, and we're all stuck using regular old bars of soap again, to the point not even one. Just in case I go through that first bar of soap too quickly, there's 5 more bars of soap waiting. They're all under the sink. I don't think I've ever finished a bar of soap before. What happens? Does it get smaller? Does it actually go away? I've heard about this. I've heard people talk about this the way my younger cousins talk about like VHS players. Like they understand in theory it happened at one point, but with their own 2 eyes, I don't know if they've ever seen it. I feel like I saw a BuzzFeed article once. It's like, oh, it couldn't have been BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed would never do something like this, but it was like a life hack where it's like, oh, when your soap gets too small, just stick it to the next bar of soap. That way it doesn't break. I would love to experience that at some point, but then I'd have to use a bar of soap, and I don't want to. I don't want to use a bar of soap like living in an apocalyptic wasteland, like I'm in a POW camp somewhere, and the guard just tossed me a crust of moldy bread and a bar of soap and says, "Clean yourself up, you filthy animal." Bars of soap. POW camp. That's an incredible segue to my first email of the day. Hi Tim, you are a POW. This is a scenario. This guy emailed in and he laid out a scenario for me. Hi Tim, you are a POW and you're being held in a room with no windows, no air vents, no furniture, and seemingly no door. It's only 4 plain walls and about 50 square feet. That's nothing. There's nothing in this room except you. The enemy is coming to torture you for highly classified information. You know you won't be able to withstand the pain and keep from divulging state secrets. How do you kill yourself? Thanks. No name, so I won't say it. But I can see your email, but I know. Great question. Great question. A brilliant scenario. First off, I just want to say I'm not giving up any information. These guys can torture me all they want. They're not going to get a thing out of me because I don't know anything. I have a terrible memory. It took me years to memorize my social security number. I still don't really know it. I always have to write it down. I have to prepare the night before if I'm filling out a job application or something. I always have to refresh my memory. I don't know what street I'm on right now. Like I know where my house is. I don't know the names of the streets on the opposite ends. I just go places. I'm so bad with details and dates and names. They could be interrogating me. They could be pushing bamboo shoots under my fingernails, being like, "Where's the American base?" And I'd be like, you walk for a bit, and then you turn by the rock, and then you walk a little bit more, I guess, and then I don't know. I just do it. I just float through life, and things kind of work out already. I don't know. I can't. There's no information they could possibly get from me of any value because I couldn't possibly retain it. That's my first critique of this. I know that's not what the real question is. You laid out a scenario. I'm gonna crack. I have to kill myself in order to save my country. Here's what I'm doing. I'm running towards a wall. I'm running up it, and I'm doing a backflip. That's my plan. Because I know I can't do a backflip. There's no chance I can do a backflip. So I'm going to do a backflip, flip over as best I can, land on my neck, break it in half, and die instantly. That's my MO that's my plan for getting out of here. Trying to do a backflip. Okay, worst case scenario, I do this backflip. I run towards the wall. I run up the wall. I'm not doing a standing backflip. I'm going to run up the wall. Maybe if I get all the way up and I get my foot on the ceiling, I could push down extra hard and just like try and smash my neck into the ground. I guess death would be the worst case. It'd be the best case in this scenario, but I let's just say that there's two ways the backflip goes. One, I break my neck, I die. The second scenario is I land the backflip, which is incredible, and it means anything is possible. Now I'm like jacked out of my mind. Adrenaline's flowing. I am pumped out of my mind. I just landed a backflip. I use this new force and this new ungodly strength that is coursing through my body right now, and I burst through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man, and I just mow through whatever bad guys are out there, John Wick style, fucking blasting people, gun punching people, where you hit them, and then you have a gun in your hand and you're swinging it towards them, and instead of hitting them with the gun, you just shoot them at the last second. I'm just mowing through these guys on my way out with all the adrenaline from my landed backflip. Stoppable, and they all bow before they all fall before me, and then I'm on the hunt. Then I'm trying to figure out, who betrayed me. We were on a covert ops mission for, an operation that was completely off the books. Someone ratted us out. Someone betrayed us. Now good men are dead, and I've got to go avenge them. So I'm like tracking this down. I trace it back to like some senator. Throw out I don't know who that would. Marco Rubio. Let's say it's Marco Rubio, and then I confront Marco Rubio in his office, and I'm like, "You betrayed us, you piece of shit. You killed my men." And he's like, "Yeah, I did, and I would do it again in a second." And I have my gun on him, and I'm like, "Make a move, punk. I dare you." And he's like, "You wouldn't dare." And I said, "No, I wouldn't." And I put down my gun, and I turn to walk away. But then he reaches for the gun under his desk. I have no choice. I turn around, bam, as I fall down, just like blow his head off. And then I'm like, "Oh, God, what did I do? I swore I would never kill again." But then I look in the corner, and his beautiful wife is standing there in the open doorway, and she's as pale as a sheet, and she's scared. And I said, "I'm sorry, your husband, Marco Rubio, was a bad man." And she says, "I know." And then we make love on his desk. And then I leave. And I hope that answers your email. This episode of Come At Me Show is brought to you by the Mask On Initiative. In 2017, the rapper Future first released his smash single Mask Off, a biting commentary contrasting our real self with the version or mask that we allow others to see. Little did Future know that a few years later, amidst the COVID-19 outbreak, his poetic words would be interpreted literally, encouraging a practice that endangers the lives of people all across the globe. Now Future is teaming up with the World Health Organization to encourage everyone out in public to keep their mask on. In Future's own words, Percocets, Molly Percocets. Percocets, Molly Percocets. Rep the set, gotta rep the set. Chase a check, never chase a bitch. Mask on. Fuck it. Please keep your mask on. All right, now it's time to get to the topic of the week. We're talking pets. We are talking about pets. I haven't had a lot of pets. I had my family growing up. We had 2 different cats. I always wanted a dog, but my parents both grew up with dogs, so they did not want a dog. So we got cats. We had 2 cats. It took a while to get the cats. First, we had some birds. We had a couple parakeets that I hated. I really wanted to eat them. That was a big thing for me as a kid, was wanting to eat our parakeets. We had 2 of them. We got them from this strange man who used to circle the block with a parrot on his shoulder, and he just had a lot of other birds. And I wanted a dog, so our parents got us these parakeets. My sister got to name one. I got to name the other one. She named hers Sunshine, and I named mine Blue Zebra. He was blue and also had zebra stripes on his wings, so I came up with the perfect name for him. And I think offhandedly, when the parrot guy sold them to us, he said something about how the name parakeet actually means tasty treat in whatever language the word parakeet came from. And ever since that day, I really had 2 goals. One was to get the parakeet, to rest on my shoulder the way this man's much larger, a different species of bird that this man had, a real parrot, would just walk around on his shoulder. I thought, I'm gonna train this bird. It's gonna love me. It's gonna perch on my shoulder. It'll fly around the house, and then it'll fly to me, and I can feed it. And if that doesn't happen, I'll eat it. I'm little. I'm in elementary school. I'd eat it now. I don't care. It'd be weird. It's a weird thing to want. Eventually, your parents just got rid of them, and then we got these cats, and then the cats died. We had bad luck with cats. They didn't live very long. We went through 2 of them while I was living at home, and that's my pet experience. But I love pets in theory. I love other people's pets. I want a pet. I'm in New York now. I feel like it's a terrible place to have a pet, but I want a pet. I like the idea of having something that loves you unconditionally. and since I don't have that from anything else in my life right now, I want a pet. I want to come home to a little face on 4 legs or 2 wings and have it tell me I'm great. Have it be a little pumped up to see me. Have it maybe want to cuddle a little bit. A pet. That's what you get from a pet, right? I don't know. I went to the Reddit. I've been getting into Reddit lately. I know, Tim, you're late to the game. If you don't know, Reddit is a crazy place. It's a crazy website, and you can go on there, and if you are into something, then there is basically a page on this website dedicated to it, and it's people asking questions, making posts. It's like a mini Facebook, but just for things that you're into. And I went to the pets subreddit, they call it, and asked them for their hot takes. I got to tell you, a lot of boring people on this subreddit. Not a lot of hot take, but I think it's because all the people on the pet subreddit, they're just nice. They're nice people who love animals, and they're not interested in my bullshit. They just want all the things. All of their hot takes are, too many people own pets that should not own pets, which is probably true. I'm sure a lot of people are doing a bad job with their pets. But every post on that page is like, well, I have a parrot. I treat it very well. A lot of people buy birds, and they treat birds poorly. And I guess that's a hot take. That's a take. Most people who have pets shouldn't have pets. That's a thing. Maybe it's a thing. I don't know. There's a lot of people in New York who probably shouldn't be owning pets. Or maybe they should. I don't know. There's so many cats around outside. That's another one that they were talking about the thread, is like the indoor-outdoor cat debate. And it sounds like in the United States, indoor cats much more common. because for whatever reason in the United States there's just more threats to cats. There's more roads, there's a lot more streets, there's a lot more cars, and people worry about their cats. I never understood. My family's had two cats. My sister has a cat now that I really have no relationship with, but I'm around cat people, and I couldn't possibly understand having an outdoor cat. You just have this pet, and it lives in your house, and just it comes and goes when it pleases, and you can just not see it for a couple of days, and then what? It just rolls back in, missing an ear, and you just welcome it into your home again. What? What are you? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like growing up, if our cat just left and came back whenever it felt like it, I wasn't allowed to do that. And I'm a person, and we just let this little thing come and go as it pleases. I can't even. I have to be home by 10, and this cat's out gallivanting around the neighborhood, eating squirrels and having its way with whatever other cats it sees. Seems crazy to me. I don't know. And you put a little collar on, and people are like, "Oh, cool, muffins. We got to get muffins home." And then what? Are people just returning outdoor cats all the time? I like that idea. You're just like, "Oh, I'm letting the cat out," and then your neighbor's just like, "Oh, I saw the cat got out, and I brought it back." It's like, yeah, but it does that. We like it. We let it just run wild. Doesn't that freak you out a little bit? Like, what's it doing? If a cat leaves and doesn't come back for 3 days, it's getting protein from something. It's hunting. It's killing squirrels and rats and shit. And then you're like, yeah, sure, predatory animal, come back into my home. What? What are you talking about? You took a domesticated animal and you're wilding it up, and bringing it back into your home. I don't know. It seems crazy. Not as crazy as this is my other pet peeve. Wow, that's a lot. My other pet peeve is pet parents. Ugh, gross. Gross. People being like, "Oh, my daughter, oh, my son, the dog." It's like, really? Really? Like, this thing came out of your body? Is that what you're saying? You're saying that you carried it for 9 months and gave birth to it, and now it's your baby? I understand if you're a parent, if you're not a parent, you don't have any children, and you have an animal, and you're like, "Oh, this is my baby." But if that's your baby, then what if you have a real baby? Are you saying that that's going to be, they're on the same level playing field? you have you have a dog and you have a son, and your son's crying and the dog's whining. You're really going to be like, I guess I got to take care of the dog. I got to take care of my firstborn before I deal with my human child's needs. We had a pastor once in church growing up, and he gave a sermon that I didn't really understand. It didn't seem coherent to me, which was pretty common then. And it was something about, if your house is burning, uh, and your kid's in the house, you'll go into a burning building to save your kid, but you won't go into a burning building to save your dog. And I think I don't understand what the religious significance of this was. Maybe that we're all God's children and he'd run into a burning house for us. Um, or maybe the world's the house and God lit it on fire and he's like, figure it out. Or maybe we're all dogs just burning to death. I don't know. But that always stood out with me. I was like, this pastor does not like his dog, that he's actively thinking about leaving it in a burning building. But there's something to be said for that. This is my cat. This is my cat baby. Oh my God, here's my little dog baby. It's like, it's not. It is not your baby. Why can't you just be bros or gals? Or it could be your one girlfriend, that, you just hang out with. Why can't I just cuddle with a bro? Pull up my big ol' bro dog and just, scratch his back, he'll scratch mine as we curl up and watch Lethal Weapon on the couch. Why can't we just be two bachelors hanging out at home, soaking it up, enjoying our bro time together? Why does he have to be my son? Ugh. Okay. Let's get to another email. Let's see. Yo, Yo, just found out my neighbor has a domesticated raccoon as a pet. Ugh. Ugh. Not gonna lie, it has me a bit shook. On one hand, it's a raccoon, a common trash panda. Wow, offensive, harsh language, but true. On the other hand, take one look at Tito the raccoon on Instagram and try to tell me your first thought isn't, aw. I don't know, man. It keeps me up at night. Thank you very much for the email. Great email. Great prompt. I mean, this. I looked up Tito. I did not think, aw. I thought, ooh. Raccoons freak me out, man. I do not like raccoons. Something about them, my instinct is to squash them or like shoo them away. I think they're too smart. I think they're too intelligent. They've got opposable thumbs. It's freaky. They're little people with their round eyes, and they know shit, man. Raccoons figure stuff out. I used to go camping growing up, and there was a place we called Raccoon Island because there were all these raccoons there. I love how many names I bring up on this pod, and then I have to explain what the name means. But it feels like you pretty much get it. Soup dumpling. That's an easy concept to guess at. Raccoon Island. I'm going to hazard a guess and say there's some raccoons living there. They were all over the place, man. You had to hide your food when you went camping because the raccoons would get it. We had a cooler, and I put another cooler on top of it, and I was like, this is sturdy as heck. They'll never be able to get it. Boom. They figured out a way. They flipped the cooler, ate all our food. There was a kid who brought candy. He brought a bunch of candy on the camping trip, and he had it in his tent. In the middle of the night, he woke up. There was a raccoon sitting next to him in his tent, eating his candy. We all woke up. He was screaming, freaking out, as anybody would when a raccoon was just in his tent, eating his food. Crazy. I've been camping before. I went camping one time. I think it was me and my buddy Andy, and we had these hammocks strung up, and we were sharing like a tree. Like our feet were sharing a tree, and then our heads were on opposite trees. And the whole night, man, the whole night we're camping, raccoons are running up and down these trees, and they're in the trees, and they're looking down on us, so we're just looking up into the dark night, and we see these eyes looking down on us. It was scary, man. It was freaky. Raccoons freak me out. They're too smart. They're too weird. They're too crazy. I get they're cute. Tito, part of me is like, oh, he's cute. The other part of me is like, get him out of here. He's a rodent. He's got diseases. He's got... I get, if you have like a pet raccoon, I'm sure part of you is like compartmentalizing it. You're like, oh, but this is a domesticated... This one's a pet. This raccoon's a pet. But wild raccoons, man, they'll attack you. They're vicious. They'll snarl and they'll bite you. I'm sure a raccoon raised in captivity, a domesticated raccoon, if that is a thing, can you domesticate it? Is it a domesticated raccoon? I'm sure a raccoon pet is friendlier and sweet and nice and all that, but I've been around too many raccoons that are terrifying, horrible monsters to trust this raccoon. I'm sorry, bud, but Tito's kind of cute, but I'm against it. I'm anti-raccoon. Also, is it a home raccoon or is it an outdoor? Is it an outdoor raccoon, like an outdoor cat, where it just got a little thing that says Tito, and then he just opens the door and it runs around and eats other people's garbage and kills chickens or whatever, and then comes back in every other night? Or is he like inside all the time? Maybe an indoor raccoon. You could convince me an indoor raccoon is like a better raccoon to be around. I don't know. I will say, at one point, I was very seriously considering getting a ferret. I don't know. In college, I was like, a ferret. This is the way to go. For some reason, you can't have a cat in the dorms, but you can have a ferret in the dorms. No one ever got in trouble for having a ferret in their college dorm. That's a thing. Went to PetSmart, looked at all the ferrets. They had like a bucket full of ferrets. And I fell in love, man. I fell in love with this little ferret. This ferret named Tiny, who was big. It was one of those... What a twist. The biggest ferret there, his name was Tiny, and he loved me, man. And I was all in on Tiny, and I was like, I should sleep on it. I slept on it, and I didn't go back for him. And to this day, I don't know if I regret it, but I do think about Tiny a lot. Anytime I'm thinking about a pet or getting a pet or wanting a pet, I'm like, man, what about Tiny, man? I hope he's good. I hope he's good. I hope he found a home. I hope he found a home, and I hope he's doing well. Wherever you are, Tiny, I love you.
Hey Tim, long time listener, first time caller.
Hey.
I gotta take on pet owners that have big dogs. If you
Oh.
own a big dog, you have to understand that people are probably going to be afraid of your dog when it jumps up on them to greet them. I grew up, I didn't have a big dog around, and so, if a big dog just runs right up to me and jumps up on me, it freaks me out a little bit. I think its claws are going to tear my clothes. It's big, it's bigger than I am. It's just, people act like it's no big deal. It is a big deal. That's my take. Thank you, Tim.
It is a big deal. They have an animal, I don't care how big it is. It's jumping on you. You're responsible. If you have an animal, you're responsible for it, man. I don't know. I think we have this thing built into our heads that like, oh, everybody, if I have a dog, everyone's going to want to pet it. Everyone's going to want to do their thing. But I've definitely been like walking down the street and had complete strangers have their big ass dogs like jump on me. And I've been like, yo, you were lucky I don't punch this dog in the face. I wouldn't punch the dog in the face, but you're lucky I don't attack you for having this dog jumping on me. I don't necessarily want a dog jumping on. What if I'm allergic? What if I'm terrified of dogs? You're really just going to let this animal... I don't know. I want to get... It's funny you had this email. This was a hot topic this week. My buddy Steve M. sent in a very similar email. Hi, bud. Talking about pets. What's your take on dogs? Real dogs versus rats pretending to be dogs. I feel dogs should be big enough for kids to ride on. Of course, I'm biased with all the big dogs I had growing up. What's your take? We've got contrasting opinions here. One man afraid of big dogs, one other man expecting to have a big dog in their life, if any dog at all. And I'll tell you what, before I moved to New York, I was very much of the opinion of Steve M. Little dogs, I was like, what are these little rats doing in Florida? We've got land here. You've got a house. You got room for a big dog. If you're going to have a dog, get a big dog. I want something that can defend my property. I want something that's good off leash that I can just walk down the sidewalk, or I can throw it a ball and it brings it back. That's what I want from a dog, from a companion, from man's best friend. But living in New York, all these people in tiny apartments, there's some lunatics here with big-ass dogs. You don't have the space for a big dog. You're one of these irresponsible jerks that the pet subreddit is talking about. If you have a Great Dane or a Pit Bull in an apartment that's 10 by 10, you're a monster. You should be locked up in a cell with nothing but a crust of bread and a bar of soap to wash with, you monsters. I don't know. I hate those. And they don't have good training. Those are the same big dogs that are jumping on everybody because they don't have anywhere to go. They're trapped in this tiny little house all day. And then they get outside and they're like, oh my God, I'm finally free and I'm just jumping on people. And this asshole doesn't care because he just left his dog at home all day because people aren't working from home here. They're fucking commuting into Manhattan. So we're talking about an hour commute both ways. You work a full day. You're not seeing that dog for 10 hours. I didn't know I cared this much about this. 10 hours a day, you're gone. You're not with this pet. You come home, you walk it outside. It's just so excited to be out that it's jumping on strangers. You're the problem. You're the problem in New York. Tiny people with big dogs. If you can't control a big dog, if you can't fight your animal, if you can't take your animal in a fight in the case that it turns on you, you shouldn't own it. That's it. If you couldn't take your animal in a fight, man, oh man, get out of there. Seen a lot of little people with big dogs. That dog turns on you, it's game over, son. Game over, son. I'm anywhere but New York, anywhere but a city. I'm pro big dog. If I move out of the city, I'm getting a big ass dog. In the city, little dog. Little dogs are cute. I've turned on little dogs. It's like a cat that poops outside. It's great. They're cute. They're cuddly. They're adorable. But you're right. It's not the same. If someone's like, I've got a dog. It's a big dog. Someone's like, I got a dog. It's like, oh, it's cute. It's for Instagram. Look at how tiny and adorable it is. You can take it to get haircuts. It's a different vibe, man. It's a city vibe. You wouldn't understand. Little dogs in the city, big dogs everywhere else. Steve's email also said, thanks for putting some WD-40 on that squeaky chair of yours. Yeah, I know, man. I WD-40'd it up, and now it keeps. I have a chair. It kind of like it rocks back. There's like settings, like when this bar is in, my chair's locked and the back doesn't move. But then now that I WD-40'd it, it just slides out at random points. So violently during the day, I just slam back in my chair and wreck myself. But that's a sacrifice I made for you, the listeners. Also similar, what's your hot take on non-traditional animals, ferrets, turtles, etc.? What would be your 5 non-traditional pets? Wow, Steve, thanks for teeing me up, man. Because that brings us to Tim Keck's top 5 of the week. I'm going to make it a little bit different, a little bit more unorthodox, but I hope I still answer your question. By the way, thanks for the emails. Thanks for the voicemails. Keep them coming. I love you all. Tim Keck's top 5 this week. It's animals I wish I could have as a pet, but no, it's probably a bad idea. Number 5, bear. I want a bear. How great would it be to have a bear? We both love honey. I can take naps on his tummy. He's big enough to ride. I mean, there's a ton of pros to having a bear pet. And in this scenario, I'm also going to say, I'm referring to them as pets, but really they're friends / spirit guides. Having a beautiful camaraderie, a comrade relationship. If I was ever, solicited for some type of a magical quest, or I'm whisked away to Hogwarts, or I find out I'm a mutant and I'm taken to the Xavier Institution, I'm bringing my friendly bear that I ride around with, feed honey, and take naps in the sun on his tummy. Number 4, alligator snapping turtle. I wish I had a pet. Alligator snap. Have you seen these things? They're gigantic. Masters of land and sea. They're so powerful, their jaws have been known to snap broomsticks in half. They're vicious. They're like alligators and turtles, all tied up into one. And also in this scenario, it's big enough for me to ride. Number 3, tiger. Tiger. I know. We watch Tiger King. It's bad. You can't have a tiger. That's why this is on the list of pets I wish I could have, but no, it's probably a bad idea. They're the best big cat. If you're ranking the big cats, tiger, number 1. What about the lion? What about go fucking yourself? How about that? Tigers, bigger, badder, scarier. Tigers are running alone, man. They're just crawling through the jungle or the Arctic or wherever tigers are at. Lions, they need their pride. They need their squad. Tigers, solo creatures, except for this one that's my pet. He's my best friend. Stripes, cool. He can blend into stuff. He's like a big dog, but he's a cat. You can scare people with it. And then you have a tiger. Again, warm sun baths on his tummy. And this one, of course, in this scenario is also big enough for me to ride. Number 2, anaconda. I want an anaconda, man. In this scenario, he's my best friend, and we're pet companions. And he's slithering around all the time. I could have my backyard be like kind of like a swampy thing, and then I look out and I'm like, oh no, the anaconda's not here. And guests come over and they're like, I heard you got an anaconda. I want to see your anaconda. And I'm like, oh wait, hey, and I whistle. And in this scenario, I've also learned how to whistle by putting 2 fingers in my mouth and blowing. And then Buffy, my anaconda, just pops up out of the water, like that movie Anaconda with Ice Cube and Jennifer Lopez, and he can slither around, and he's big. He takes us for rides. Number 1, hippo. All right, I want a hippo, the deadliest animal in all of Africa. This guy is a real threat in the water. Plus, I just watched a YouTube video of some guy feeding them whole watermelons. They just threw a whole watermelon in a hippo's mouth, and it would crush it, and the watermelon went everywhere, and I would just do that for hours, man. Every day I'd be like, sup, buddy? You like watermelon? I like watermelon. Let's fucking ham on some watermelon. I love it. It's my favorite. Maybe it's fruit. Next week's topic, fruit. Okay? Send in your fruit takes. We are talking about fruit, and my favorite fruit, which may or may not be watermelon. Hippos eating whole watermelons, Google it. And also in this scenario, And in really any scenario, this hippo gives me rides. That's it. That's Tim Keck's top 5 animals I wish I could have as a pet, but no, it's probably a bad idea. Number 5, bear. Number 4, alligator snapping turtle. Number 3, tiger. Number 2, anaconda. Number 1, hippo. Thank you for listening. That was great. You guys are great. Next week's topic is fruit. Call in. Talk to me about fruit. What's your favorite fruit? Do you have fruit takes? Do you hate fruits? Are vegetables better? Are some fruits underrated? I don't know, man. Or just email or call in about whatever you want. You know the number, but just in case you don't, 862-505-1376. That's 862-505-1376. Leave a voicemail or email the show at comeatmeshow@gmail.com. Guys, this was a long one. This was a good one. I love you all. Good night. And the king stays king. Bye.